Hey crafty people, it's Tasha. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm sharing some easy background ideas to mix up the same simple design. I love to create multiple cards at once, but I still want each one to be individual. I'll be using the same set of products for all of my cards today, and it's this brand new stamp set from the July release. It is a huge set, so it's 11 by 8.5 inches, and then I've got the coordinating dies, stencils and embossing folder. So you can pick up any of these individually, or there is a great value bundle if, like me, you just have to have it all. I'm also using some of the new inks, and we'll start with one of the gorgeous butterflies from the set. I stamped it in obsidian onto some Nina £80 and then left it to dry overnight before coming back in to colour it with my simple colouring stencils. So this pack will colour all of the images from the set, so you're going to get a lot of stencils, but there is a really easy to follow guide inside the packaging that's going to show you where each stencil goes. Starting with the top wings, and I'm adding a flat layer of colour first, and then I'm showing how you can darken parts to add more dimension just using a heavier hand but with the same ink. Let's step it up though and add some darker colour at the base of the wings. Always going back through the colours to smooth out that blend and transition. Moving on to the lower wings, I'm making these ones darker by starting with this second ink and then going up to ink number 3 for the bases of the wings. I'm just using that same technique again, laying down a flat colour, deepening the colour at the base using the next ink in the colour family, and then going back in with ink number 2 to smooth out those transitions. Now for these inner bits, I'm actually going to use grey. But again, I'm making sure to add extra dimension with darker ink and a heavier hand. The body sections are split into 2, and I'm making these grey too, but varying the intensity for some interest. Lastly, the little dots are going to be dark grey, and you can see just how easy it is to colour these images with just some mini blending tools and your inks. So I'll die cut this, and then I'm adding some extra interest with this sparkly jelly roll pen. Nothing too tough, just a few dots and lines going over some of the detail marks from the stamp itself. I created quite a few more of the butterflies off screen, but I actually used the blue inks, and you can see the differences that I got just by changing up the ink that I started with, because I'm always going to use that as my lightest shade and then go up. Another way to add extra detail is this black glaze pen. It's got a really glossy and slightly raised appearance once dry, so you do need to let it dry. So I'm going to put that aside and let's get to work on those backgrounds, shall we? I made all of these cards at the same time, but to keep it clear, I'm going to do each card start to finish. So if you do see some bits on screen that I haven't got to yet, don't worry, I will circle back to catch it all. So my first background is some simple stamping with the largest flower bunch from this set. I'm adding it to my MISTI and loading an A2 panel of Nina £80. Then I'll stamp it in a light grey. I can then add a sentiment by stamping directly onto the image with obsidian ink. I created this sample card before I started filming, so first I'm just going to recreate that, but let's step it up a little bit too. For the butterfly, I placed my thumbnail where I want the fold to be, so at the base of the wing, and then fold it on that line. So having my nail there just means that it folds exactly where I want it to. Then I can add glue to the centre, and it's nicely secured but with the wings up as though it's just landing. I trimmed the panel down to 5 by 3 3/4 of an inch, And before I added it to my card base, I'm going to lay down a strip of this Altenew gold washi tape along the edge. I used foam to lift my panel slightly, and I added some jewel embellishments to finish it off. Next, I'm stamping the second butterfly from the set, again in light grey, onto an A2 panel. I stamped 2 sentiments in obsidian and added clear embossing powder on top, heating well with my dual speed heat tool that I always heat up before bringing to my embossing. I'm trimming the panel down again to 5 by 3 3/4 of an inch and adhering my butterfly in the same way with her wings free. Those 2 sentiments can easily be trimmed into strips, and then I added these at kind of wonky angles because I love doing that. I added it to an A2 card base with a nice border around the edge, and again finished off with some jewels. Moving on, this one is super easy, but it always looks so impressive. So I've stamped a sentiment onto this A2 panel of Nina £80, again using my obsidian ink, and I did let it dry a little bit before moving on to the next step. I'm laying it into the 3D embossing folder from this collection, and you can position it wherever within that folder. I'm going to put it off to the right hand side a little to give me the most florals on my panel. Once you run it through your die cutting machine, you get this gorgeous, detailed, raised image with the sentiment right on there. You can still read it perfectly, so it's one of those techniques that just confuses the heck out of people because they're always going to wonder, how did you manage it? I trimmed it down again and added my butterfly, but this time I used foam tape behind the whole image to stick it flat onto the panel. And then I also used foam tape to adhere the whole panel onto my card base. This butterfly has even more glitter gel pen than all the others, so it sparkles stunningly in the light. A few gems finish the design off nicely. The last technique is a little more labour intensive, but it is so worth it. I'm stamping that same large flower image onto another £80 panel with obsidian ink so that I can emboss it in clear. So the obsidian does take a little bit longer to dry, so that makes it perfect for embossing with clear embossing powder for a crisp black but kind of slightly dimensional image. Now I'm going to colour the whole thing with my stencils, mini blending tools and inks. I'm going for the same kind of dimensional effect again by using different inks to deepen the base of the petals. So whilst I'm busily inking up the whole image, it's a great time to tell you about the hop that we're having today to celebrate the brand new July release from Altenew. So they're generously giving away $300 worth of prizes to some very lucky winners. To enter for your chance to win, all you need to do is go through the hop and see the inspiration from all of the designers and leave comments on each video. We'll be giving you an emoji to use in comments for each video, so be sure to add the one that you see on screen now to your comment on my video to enter the giveaway. Don't forget to subscribe to any of the talented designers that you aren't already subscribed to, and you're going to find a wealth of inspiration for this new release. If you are looking to purchase today, I've got all of my supplies listed and linked below. But if you aren't shopping today, then these techniques can be applied to whatever supplies you already have in your stash. All of the details and links to the next video in the hop, along with Altenew's video that kicks off today's hop, are below in my description box, so make sure to check it out. So once I've got my image all coloured, I die cut it so that I could pop it up onto another panel with foam tape. So I did this for 2 reasons. One, I really like the dimension that it gives, and 2, I got an inky thumbprint on the panel that I'd stamped it on. So it's a bit of a win-win there, I'd say. For my sentiment, I stamped one with obsidian so I could clear emboss it again. And this set doesn't have dies for the sentiments, so I fussy cut it very carefully so that I could pop this up too with foam adhesive. Then my butterfly is in place too, adhered down the body so that her wings are free. I trimmed a tiny bit off each edge of the panel to give me a little white border all round where my panel is adhered to a card base. And of course, I had to add some jewels. This time I went a bit mad with them though, and they are everywhere. So that's my last card for today. But to be honest, I had loads more ideas and I just ran out of time to make them. So if you want to see those, let me know in the comments and I'll do another video. Don't forget to check out the giveaway and hop details in my description box along with the links to all of my supplies. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that I have inspired you. Have a lovely, happy, safe and wonderful week. Stay crafty. Bye.